Well, good morning. It is it's actually a beautiful day. We got some clouds out in the sky, but it's mostly clear. That would have been nice to have yesterday. That's all right. That's all right. Today we are actually going to break a camp, so to speak, which I think is the first time I've ever used that phrase. But we're gonna leave the RV park because we are going north. We're going to Canada. We're gonna get a few things touched up on the rig, all minor stuff, and hopefully shoot some cool videos too. I'm really excited about that. So we might get, if you've been around, more than a couple videos, a couple months, right? My love of RV manufacturing, like plant tours. And so, yeah, it's just great. I think it's great fun. I think it's really cool to see how a rig is made. And really, it's so beneficial for those that own the rigs, because how is your rig made? If you need to make a repair or if you want to make an upgrade, what materials did they select and why did they select those materials? How could you improve it even? Yeah, and I think Escape is one of the few left that, very few, right, that I think is actually making really conscious choices about strength and value, value as well, right? But like strength of materials, rather than like, what's the minimum, right? They're building to a different standard. So anyways, well, it'd be cool to make some videos at the plant if that is still on the itinerary. So I just dropped our 2 pups off and our firearms and a few other things, just stay on 100% legal. Man, it is a beautiful day. Hopefully you guys can see some of that water. Man, oh man, the Puget Sound is a lovely place. In the other video, actually, where this was the point of controversy, go figure. Who'd have thunk, right? In America, you can't. Sheesh. We were talking about what I thought was just values. There are a lot of things that I value. Government transparency, of course, being one of them. I didn't think that was going to be remotely controversial, and apparently, some of you guys did. Some of you guys think that government transparency is too political. So, oh man, or patriotism, and the amount of like ridiculous names I've been called, which doesn't hurt my feelings. I just don't want that trash on my channel. But wow, I am amazed. I am amazed. So, anyways, today will be the first trip out with our new solar setup. And I was thinking about those feet. I think they're gonna be fine. They go 4 inches to 7 inches. And so I'm like, oh, if I could do a 2-inch foot, like that would be ideal, right? Because if I could have done a 2-inch foot, I could have also done, really the 2-to-1 slant would have been fine. You can bend those aluminum feet a little bit. They have some flex to them. But 4 on one side, 1 on the other, there was not enough bend there. So I'm gonna keep my eyes peeled, and eventually we can always change it as well. But this will at least get us, it's literally stood up now. So I don't know. I'm excited. I'm excited to see how the panels do. Also, I don't want to talk too much about this, and it's not like we need air conditioning right now. I don't want to talk. Ooh, the cherry blossoms are just starting to bloom right now. Yeah, not on that side, but. Squirrel. But we don't need an AC right now, but we will. I'm one of those people where I'm like, I want freaking AC. I want to be climate controlled, and so I like our propane furnace. It's the first time I think I've ever actually liked a propane furnace. Go figure. And then the fan placement, the windows, all of that is really good because you can crack all of them and you can get all that air through. Or for example, you can crack the ones just like above our head at night, and then pull the fan's right next to the bed, which is really nice, so it'll pull air through. That's great for nighttime cooling and very efficiently. But what about those days where it's like 90, 95 plus? And this summer we will be hitting those temperatures, I expect. Very much hitting those temperatures. So what do you do about that? And if you're on solar, we're gonna have to do more testing, but I don't believe that we're gonna be able to run especially overnight by any means, or at night I should say. I don't think we're going to be able to run the way that I want to where we can just use the rooftop AC. And I was hoping that it would be more efficient. I was really thinking that the power draw would be less than it was. I think I actually selected the wrong unit when I was looking at the spec sheet, a lower BTU unit. Now, this is great if you're hooked up. Like, it's wonderful if you're hooked up. This thing is like, it'll warm it up in there and cool it down, and it does cool very effectively. I've done a quick test and I'm like, oh, okay, hood up, kind of cold. But yeah, I don't think it's gonna cut it in, you know, the summer on solar. So I have an idea for that. Emma and I were actually looking, because we have so many options, right? Like, we were talking about a mini split the other day. It'd be cool because it's 12 volt, but no, I'm not putting holes in. It just doesn't make sense, at least yet. And it's another thing that's kind of ugly, right? And so it's really a matter of like, how do you make something that can be moved, right? It's not taking up too much space, is efficient. Yeah, ideally you have something that's just like the rooftop AC. It doesn't move at all, but that's kind of a difficult thing. And so we're gonna be going back to one of the designs we use in our bus, but we might be modifying it a little tiny bit and making it more applicable to anybody out there. Depending, right? Depending on your comfort with such things. And the other thing is, of course, this air conditioning option that I'm looking at, and that we used in the past. You cannot beat the price. You genuinely, you know, it's unbelievable how relatively affordable they are. You compared to the, you know, the value. The value is there, let's say, compared to buying a mini split or a rooftop unit or whatever. So one day it would be great to convert one of these articulating buses. Pick one up that like barely runs or have it delivered or something like that. The XDE 60 LFs, very nice. I like the New Flyer buses. Yeah, it'd be pretty cool to do one of the articulating buses. And like one half of your house is just that you don't get to see all the way through. And you got a lot of headroom in there, right? Like, why not? And I imagine you could probably pick one up pretty expensive. Why not? Yeah, the skyline is so neat, isn't it? Also, if you're curious, the roof of these stadiums actually move apart so you get sunlight when you want it, but then you can actually close them and prevent the rain from coming on in. It's a pretty cool design. It's kind of nuts to like move a roof like you have a convertible or a sunroof, essentially. That's nuts. This is a cool bridge, one of the floating bridges. There's a second one out there, 520. This is I-90. Ah, what a beautiful day here. I mean, if you don't mind a little sun and a little clouds. It's not raining though, and that's what matters. I'm seeing all these Teslas fly by, and it reminds me of this conversation Emma and I had. And, you know, we always run like a theoretical of like, what if we had a piece of property? What would we want to do vehicle-wise, right? And I love the e-bikes. And honestly, if we had some property, I'd probably do a trike. We were talking about like, okay, well, what if we did, at least while she's, yeah, there's one right there. While we're here in Washington, what if we could get like a long-term, like year-round spot? What would we want to do then? Basically, driving the truck every day, commuting by truck, it's not cost effective. But basically we have a lot of wear and tear, a lot of fuel. You know, it's also we're regenning much more frequently, right, because of the stop and go traffic. If we were to stay year round, if that was a thing we wanted to do and had the option to, because right now there's just not an option, you know, I think what we were talking about, just buying a cheap EV, like a used EV. And Teslas are, the market's going down on them, which is really good for used buyers. And actually, my buddy Jan just bought he bought a Tesla Model 3 and got a pretty good deal. He got 0% interest, which surprises me. Like, that's, when's the last time you heard of that, right? Like, that's nuts. And it's beautiful, really pretty great. So he's got that, and so I'm like, oh, that'd be pretty nice. You know, an EV at that point makes sense, right? Like, is it like the perfect road trip machine? No, not really, of course. But it's kind of, if you're just scooting around town, and I was thinking, I'm like, well, the Nissan Leafs, like an old Nissan Leaf that might only have 30, 40, 50 miles of range, you can get those for $3 grand in still decent shape, you know, 60, 70,000 miles, which mileage is not the same on an EV. And so we've been kind of like deliberate, you know, because sometimes it's just more convenient to drive rather than ride a bike. But I sure do I like biking, but you know, naturally when it gets real cold out, yeah, Emma's not such a big fan. When it can be pretty warm out and you're still comfortable, but when it gets cold, it's, you know, that's or rainy in Washington. So we've been playing around with that idea. I don't see us actually like staying year round. It is nice to have hookups though, for sure. To some degree, it has been, well, at least compared to not having any solar panels. So we'll see how our solar does, but yeah, it's been kind of nice. And we'll have to do like a more long-term review, because nothing bad has really happened at the RV park since. So we had those like 2 incidents, a little frustrating to say the least. And ever since, it's been pretty good. Like, you get some weirdos that drive through, right? But otherwise, it's been pretty like quiet. Still, I'm not an RV park person, but you know, there are definitely benefits. And you know, given that I really do like our furnace when it decides to cooperate, the sales switch was a small thing. No, I really like that. Now that we have solar, it's like, are we gonna ever want to go back to an RV park? I really think it'll be one of those things where it'll just be like, we either stay long term, or you know, a couple months at a time, or you know, just do as we do. So we'll see though. Eventually, we'd like to have our own land, you know, a place to come and go from. So we're working on it. We are working on it. But yeah, not out here in Washington, I'll tell you. It is, unless you're out of the boonies, and yeah, still. Even property taxes. I'm sure even out in the boonies, it's still probably pretty nuts. If we did do an EV, I think I have a lot of solutions for the range issue. A lot of solutions for the range issue. But I started going into all of these things, and Emma's like, dude, I don't want to drive the weirdest car in the city. She's like, I don't want to be the weirdest car. And I'm like, yeah, but what? I need a project. Oh man. You guys know I love solar. I love I love off-grid tech, you know? I think that's the thing. I love off-grid tech. It's a cool thing. Also, a little side note, I've not done an update review on how the truck is doing. And I gotta say, I love the truck other than 2 major issues. Major to me for the kind of money we're spending on these things, right? But I do like this little, not the highest resolution, but the cargo cam. That's kind of cool. So you got a rear cam here, and then a cargo cam. That's kind of neat. I don't know. Thought that was nice. We loaded the bikes up yesterday evening, just so you know we were all prepped to go. We need to order a new bike rack, but those are a little pricey, and I don't know about you guys, but some people have budgets. I like being able to see, because right now you can't, I mean, I don't know about you, maybe you can't see something, but you can't really see them out there. Thought that was kind of cool. I've never had a cargo camera. Ooh, that van, they've got a little setup there. Set of solar panels. Yeah, moving these big old clouds in. Hopefully it doesn't start pouring. I'd like to hook up in peace and dry. You know, so might take some black paint to those feet. I don't know. It actually doesn't look that terrible, and it's still below the AC, so yeah, we'll be hooking up here shortly. I'm just now getting the rig ready to roll. Not much needs to be done, but having a tough time with the stinky slinky hoses. Those are all connected. You might hear a generator. It's annoying. The reason is actually there was a power cut, and my neighbor actually came over and asked, and I didn't think it was cut. I thought we had power, because the Victron system, like the little overhead AC heat pump, working perfectly fine. So kudos. I didn't notice the difference. And we have a little bit of solar, so yeah, our batteries are still 100%. Glad we don't have a generator. I know a lot of people like them. Not for me. All right, we are off. And while we're in Canada, I'm going to see about getting a proper hitch, because things are a little bit cheaper up there, for us at least. We'll go ahead and see about getting a 2.5-inch shank, drop shank, and one that will fit. There's a trailer shop that's a little bit more expensive right down the way from Escape Trailer, but I think it'll be fine. So we'll see if they have anything. Maybe they don't. Who knows? But our system is a weight distribution, which we don't really, you know, it's nice to have on a 2500 though. They're a little squishier, and a sway control setup. So we have so much wiggle in our setup though that it's ridiculous. And we have a little hitch silencer that really doesn't do much. But off we go. Probably good timing though, given that we don't have power here, and so whatever. The other thing is, I just saw a comment from somebody who thinks that the solar panels will fly off. And they go, you know, I wouldn't want to be behind you, which I agree. If a solar panel flies off, I do not want to be struck by a solar panel, obviously. But I think a lot of folks don't recognize like how VHB works. They actually use VHB in automotive applications. It's very strong stuff. And something like the ATC trailers, or even the Intech trailers, actually, a lot of people don't know, those panels are hung with VHB. They're very strong. They're very, very strong. Obviously, like, you won't want to go out of your way to like catch more wind under them, right? Like, you don't want to like, they create really good sails. A big box is going to create a really good sail. But the VHB is really good stuff. And then you add in a Turnabond, or we're using it's basically a Turnabond. It's like a commercial grade roofing tape that you would use for industrial buildings and whatnot. Oh, they've got solar on their bread truck. But yeah, you add that in there, and really, genuinely, we have not had a single problem. I've been doing this, installing solar for 7 years after 2 years of just getting screwed with other installations. So I figured out the best way to do it. This is my way to do it. And you can ask folks like George S. I can ask George on here, or Brian AZ. You can ask Brian AZ. So those guys know how well those are stuck down. They are on it. So they're very difficult to remove. I promise you that. So I mean, if I'm sitting here and I can pull on it and it's not coming up, yeah, you betcha. Now the other thing is if you give it some consideration, a lot of people are taking a screw. So I don't believe that screws add a lot of strength to anything, right? That's why typically you would use bolts, because it increases the surface area of the attachment point. But a lot of people are using a screw, like one, maybe two screws that are going down into real cheap Luan, right? They're going into a rubber roof and then some styrofoam, and then they seal over that. If you consider it, all of the strength is going into these little, basically just I mean, because it's a nail with a little bit of thread on it. So it's really these little thread points in the wood that you're trusting to attach, because styrofoam's not going to do nothing, right? Like, and then there's some sealant on top that's not going to do much in terms of strength of bonding. So if you think about it, this is a lot more surface area that is very, very sturdy. I mean, it's pretty dang sturdy. So obviously, for example, after this initial run, I'm going to pick up Emma right now, but after this initial run, even maybe up to the border, I'm going to get out, throw the ladder up, double check the solar panels, all of them. The one I'm a little more like, if I had any concern at all, it would be the one that's taller, right? Because we've never had a solar panel that tall. But you get up there, check it like you should. And you should do this with any solar panel, really. I guarantee it's going to be just fine. But if we find a problem, we can go ahead and correct that problem. So, not a big deal. It's really not that big of a deal. So anyways, I get the idea though. People are like, wait, you just tape those up there? If you understood the application of VHB and how disgustingly strong this stuff is. Found Emma. Oh man, it is pretty stormy out here. Apparently though, where we had a little, mostly sun, and I didn't experience any thunder, lightning, or hail or nothing. It's a little different at your school. Yeah,
my school, it hailed, it lightninged, and it thundered really loud, like a big, like, building shaking thunder. which does not happen really in the Pacific Northwest. Like, you don't get a lot of thunder and lightning to begin with. Like, so for it to be
Nashville
like
was nuts.
a booming thunder like that, like it was pretty intense. The kids were all a little freaked at recess.
Yeah. Well, fall and spring in
Nashville.
That was even the sun. It's the whole time in Tennessee's nuts.
Yeah.
The weather's crazy.
Well, and then like with lightning, you have to bring all the kids inside, so it was like a stampede in the hallway of like kids coming inside.
Yeah. This is pretty neat. Went ahead, and so there's a little bracket, right, that's kind of like this, and usually you could set that little monitor, the rear view camera monitor, you could set that guy on like a desk, or you could like Velcro it up here or whatever. But just sliding it, turning it upside down, sliding it into the visor, look at that. Didn't have to make a single modification. You do have a cable that's coming down, but it's a very natural position because about every 10 seconds I check the mirrors just to make sure, the trailer's all good, whatever, like you should. And your eye just kind of naturally goes to that, and it's very adjustable. What does it look like over there for you?
For me, it kind of just blends in here with like the rear view mirror situation. So it's all kind of in the space. It also, like, I hate this tint up here, and it kind of just sits in that area, it blends in, and I always look below the tint. I just kind of ignore the tint and above, so it just blends into me. It doesn't really bother me at all.
I think it looks pretty decent, and it makes good sense. Didn't have to drill that. I mean, other than one little cable, which I might extend that and just run that down, or I don't know. It's just a little 12-volt connection, so. Interestingly, it doesn't, like that particular port right there is constantly powered, so it doesn't shut off. I think even after 30 minutes it doesn't shut off, so that's a weird thing. Whereas like all the other outlets, USBs and such do. But anyways, I'm glad we were putting it down here in this little tray thing, and then you mess with it. Or I thought about putting it up here, but that's kind of obnoxious. I don't know, I just didn't love that. So win. Hard to see, but we are at the Sumas border crossing, and this time instead of going commercial, we'll just go regular passenger. Okay, will they let us in? Let's see. Yeah, just say all traffic there. Yeah, this isn't too busy. Wait, that's next. Okay, I see. Huh. Bus, auto bus only. All right, we'll see if they let us in.
You keep making that joke.
No.
Like it's a question.
Well, this time, I'll be like, well, actually, we saw some comments. We saw some comments on your YouTube channel. You love America too much. Hello. There you go.
You just shut it off.
Oh. I'm just curious. We don't have any weapons. I thought you could cross with weapons, firearms at least.
It depends. Generally, you can't.
Okay, it's like a process.
So you don't have any firearms to declare?
No.
Is there anything in the vehicle that would lead us to believe there's possibly a firearm, like ammunition cases, holsters, nothing like that? Okay. Where do you guys live?
In Bothell, Washington right now.
Where are you trying to go?
We're going to Chilliwack, the Escape Trailer factory right here.
Is the vehicle yours?
Yes.
Where is it plated out of?
South Dakota.
Did you recently relocate?
So just there for work right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
What line of work are you in?
Well, she's a teacher. I work remotely, so I work in IT.
Are you guys partners?
Yeah, I'm married. Yep. Partners. You can say that.
I'll be right with you. So are you heading to Chilliwack to drop that off?
No, we're just getting some service done.
Oh, okay. How long will you be in Canada for?
The weekend. Come back on Sunday.
Either of you have any driving issues like DUIs, reckless driving, anything like that?
Nope.
Is it showing that we have something crazy?
No, but now you're making me think I need to look into it.
No.
Do you have a criminal history?
Not at all.
Handcuffs on you at any time for any reason?
No.
Is there any alcohol, tobacco, or cannabis on board?
Nope.
Yeah, I'll just be straight with you. Nobody's ever said that to me before when I'm questioning them. If like the system says that it says something.
We've never been asked that question.
I'm just gonna have my colleagues look into it just to make sure. Okay.
Yeah.
So just pull underneath any lane that's open to the left there, and come inside with your passports and that yellow slip. Okay.
Yep.
Thanks.
What the? Wait.
Just don't ask questions.
Bro, and he said number 2 right here.
Anyway, it's open, he said.
Wait, what?
Come inside.
But when Waters had him with the news, like he asked me that why, why did I come up there? And he's like, well, no, but like that's the first time that I've ever heard anyone say that after saying they don't have any criminality in the U.S. Like, surprised to see one of these behind like a full size truck. Usually people like SUVs and like small trucks buy them because they're lighter. Oh, are they? I might do something with that. I'll bring you off. Yeah. Close pull handle on. Fine. Put me up for a second. Something. Move. What? Oh, is it okay? Yeah.
Well, all right. That was interesting. Oh, and we're at Escape. Escape trailer showroom. Everything's back there. That was sure interesting.
Yeah.
So, what happened there? Now I asked the question because there's a sign, and I could see why this might be a little weird. I asked a question, something to the effect of like, "Oh, I thought you couldn't bring any firearms into Canada, right?" Trying to understand the regulations, right? Where else are you going to learn? And because sometimes they have information, they do have information that's not on the website.
Yeah, and there was a sign that said like declare your weapons.
Yeah.
Yada yada.
Yeah, declare your weapons. So I'm like, and I'm just, he's going through the things, and he's kind of scowling even like as we pulled up, and he was just like, huh, and like he ran our plates and whatever, and then he goes, hold on 1 second, and he goes, and then he goes, basically, no weapons. I was like, all right. He goes, do you have any weapons? And we're like, no. Straight face, like, no, like there's nothing suspicious about that. Nothing. Am I wrong? Nothing suspicious about our answers. And he goes, huh. So then he closes the window and he comes back and he goes, oh, do you have any DUI, any driving history issues? And I'm like, what? Which was clearly, it was like a, what do you call it? It's a diversion question, right? It's like to divert your attention. And I'm like, no, does it say that in there? You know, because that'd be surprising. These are like questions, and I have had chats with Border Patrol agents in the past where like, we've talked, oh my God, we've had great fun conversations. Like, I'm not like, I know they're not there to be your friend, but like, you can have a little bit of chit chat. Like, there's nothing weird about that. You were there plenty of times. And anyways, so they actually pulled us into secondary. And the next guy, also very young, there must have been something else up, because he then starts going in about firearms, and he goes, do you have any weapons at all? I'm like, no. Like, a weapon to me is like a knife, a firearm, or like nunchucks, or something that is, its primary intent is to be used as, you know, to hurt somebody, right? Am I wrong?
No. I wonder if the proper answer to the do you have weapons question is we own them, but we don't have them with us.
It could be.
I wonder if it flags that we own them.
It could flag that we own them. I don't know. But
So I wonder if that's actually the right answer.
And he actually, well, but the thing is I've always answered no, and they've been like, okay, yeah, because he then asked, he goes, do you own firearms? And we're like, yeah. He goes, you just don't have them with you. I'm like, no. Again, it's not a weird, like, we're not trying to, we weren't cagey about it. I wasn't cagey. I answered most of the questions. And like with the second guy, I just like, yes, no, yes. They're at my mom's. And I think maybe part of what it was that like we domicile in South Dakota, and they're like, where do you live? Like maybe that's part of what it was. So for about, what was it, 20 minutes? Yeah, they went ahead and searched everything, including the trailer, and actually found pepper spray, which I did not know was illegal in Canada.
No.
And he goes, what do you use this for? I was like, self-defense. And he goes, like, against what? I was like, well, like bears, dogs, humans. He goes, why humans? I'm like, I mean, we live in a shady area. Like he advised us that the pepper spray is actually illegal in Canada, which is stupid. I don't care how you cut that cookie. It is stupid. And so he confiscated it, and he goes, you know, if it seemed like you were being intentional about this, like we would.
Well, we voluntarily abandoned it.
Right, we did. And he goes, we would otherwise tow your vehicle and then charge you $500 to get it back. And I'm like, what? That doesn't make any sense.
They would impound our vehicle, not tow it.
No, yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, that's so. I don't understand how you can do that. That sounds like something that like the Mexican federales might do that are like super corrupt, right? You've heard stories of like, oh yeah, but if you just pay me right now, yeah, we can make this whole thing go away. Otherwise, you're gonna sit in jail for a while. Like, right? We've heard stories. We've seen. Anyways, and then he goes, I said, so what? I mean, what was it? The reason I asked this question about the firearms is just because there was a sign, and you know, I want to better understand. I didn't think it was like that shady. I didn't ask him this, and he goes, no, it wasn't that. He goes, it's just that. He goes, things are just squirrely right now. And I was like, things are squirrely. I was like, is it like the political climate or something like that? Because we have the American flag. You know, I wasn't wearing my hat, but you know, and on the front of the truck and whatever, and we're from America, so obviously, right? And he goes, no, it's just that, like, usually people don't like talk a lot. Like you talk. He said something about how I was talking.
Yeah, he said that normal people don't talk so much. They're not so like
chatty.
Yeah.
Which I was like.
And then I was like, that's just how Joel is. That's just how he is.
And I was turned down, if anything, like way down. So I don't know, man. And then I asked, and I got to shut up, but I wanted to better understand. I said, hey, how do we learn about this? Like, how I want to make sure. He goes, well, do you have anything that like you think should be confiscated that's still in there? Because apparently, by the way, bear spray, totally legit.
As long as it says bear spray on it.
Right. Which again, how stupid is that? And they said, well, like I didn't realize, like I thought all firearms were. He goes, no, if you're using them for hunting and they have to be within certain regulations. I said, okay, how do you learn about this, right? Because I don't want to break the law. Like, where do you learn? You have to ask somebody, right? I mean, who better to ask about Border Patrol questions than Border Patrol, right? And he goes, oh, well, hold on, there's this whole site. And I tried to explain, like, the only reason I asked, by the way, and he's like, yeah, hold on, let me, and I'm like, very, very one-track minded type folks. But we were not the only one. So another dude, though, he did actually have marijuana. It's legal on both sides of the border, but can't bring it over the border. And he admitted it. He goes, yeah, but I've never had a problem. I just declare it, and they're like, okay, you're good to go. He goes, this guy was definitely being a jerk. Well, he used a different term, but he said the dude that we talked to was definitely being a jerk. Coincidentally, he also drove a Ram. I don't think it was me. If anything, I was turned down today. No, that guy was, there's something else going on. I don't know. And I'm thinking, like, was it something about the way their vehicle looked, or, you know, something like that. There was nothing in there that was remotely suspicious. So, I don't know. But that's a frustrating experience. I don't know. Canadians customs, man. He goes, are you expecting to come back to Canada and spend some time here? And I was like, I mean, because the problem is like, how do you know how to answer the questions? Obviously, I just tell the truth, and you know, I was like, no, not really, but like maybe in the future we'll go ahead and, you know, we can do like a road trip, yeah, across Canada. I think that would be kind of cool. And he's like, I'm like, so that's why we want to learn. And he's like, he didn't like that answer.
Well, and he said that if they would have if we wouldn't have voluntarily seized the pepper spray, they would have done the whole like impound your vehicle and $500 Canadian fine, and
Right.
there would have been a flag on one of our names for 7 years.
7 years. Yeah, we wouldn't be allowed over or something like that. Or we would be
flagged for
we'd be
extra.
flagged. They'd go through everything we have. I'm like, what?
And like when they go through our stuff, they're going through everything we own.
Right.
Our whole house is like, this is our whole house. You're going through all of our stuff.
I understand, like, at the border, though, you don't have the same rights, but, like, hell, you don't have any rights, really. But, come on, man, that was not, I don't know. It is our whole house, and they don't know that. Like, we don't tell them, like, oh, yeah, we live in this, right? Because I don't want them thinking, like, we're going to go out to Canada. Like, nobody's coming to Canada to, like, get away from America, right? Like, this is not a thing that's happening, you know? And we're all giving our papers, and obviously we have jobs here in the U.S. Like, did not state that we were doing anything wrong either, just that we were being, well, I was being squirrely, apparently, or things were being squirrely. I don't know. I'm on a rant now, so I don't know. What? You guys had any weird interactions? I know a lot of people just say, just don't talk to them. It's like, but I don't want to appear like I'm just like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I tend to operate under answer their questions and shut up. But that's just also kind of me, so. Yeah,
I usually ask like 1 or 2 questions just to let them know, like, I'm at ease, like, there's nothing to worry about here, you know? Maybe I just picked the wrong question, but it was on the sign, so, yeah. Anyways. Plus, if it wasn't illegal to declare a firearm, anyways, like, potentially, right? Depending, why would that be? Whatever, it doesn't matter. It's over with, we're here. What a way to make they thought it was weird that they're like, have you ever been to Canada before? I'm like, you already know. You already know.
We have, yeah.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah. And then they thought that was weird too, it seemed. They're like, I don't know. Either way, hey, we're in Canada. It's good to be here in Escape Trailer, and thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you had more fun than we did. And we'll see you in the next video.
Bye, guys.
Bye.